Hi, Sean from Academy of Rock here. We've come to the last episode in this series, and today we'll be taking a look at the process of mastering. Mastering is the final step in the production process and usually consists of EQing, limiting, and widening. There are two types of mastering techniques. Two-track mastering, where the EQ, limiter, and any other plugin affects the entire track as a whole. And stem mastering, where the track is split into stems like drums only, bass only, vocals only, keyboards only. These individual stems are added to the session and are treated individually. They each get their own set of plugins based on what the engineer feels is needed. After which, the stems are limited as a whole on the master bus. While stem mastering may seem like a flexible option for most, you must be careful to ensure that you uphold the integrity of the mix during the process. Today, we'll be taking a look at two-track mastering.
Okay, mastering. Now we're gonna add some finishing touches onto this little loop that we saw in the mixing episode. And I'm gonna run through some of the plugins that I use, right? So, at the start, we've got a mastering chain. Simple stuff. It's based on a console from Abbey Roads. So if you got some EQ, some limiting, and some high pass and low pass, right? There's also a widening section here, so the stereo image ends up being wider. Let me just switch everything off. Okay, so here is the track without any plugins. Right, and now I'm going to switch this on. You can hear the subtle difference, but it brings some life into the track, right? Okay, my next plugin is an exciter, right? So you can think of this as exciting frequencies or adding harmonics, right? It's like saturation. So I'm gonna switch, play the track without this and bring it in. Right. Next one I've got is just a simple EQ. I'm just cutting out some of the lows and couple frequencies that were resonant, right? And it's important to note that in mastering, you don't want to EQ heavily, right? You want to make very subtle changes because this affects the entire track, right? Okay, I know it's hard to tell the difference, but let me give you an example. I'm just gonna boost this. Right, so you can hear that resonating. I'm just gonna cut it by a bit, just a little bit. Alright, moving on. I've got another EQ here. And on this one, I'm just adding some lows, taking up some mids, and adding some extreme highs. This is at 20 kilohertz. Without it. With it. Right, so you can hear adding that adds some oomph to the low end and adds a little bit more excitement to the hi-hat. Next plugin is an EQ, but I'm using it as a multi-band compressor or expander, right? So without it, right, so you can see there that it's pushing up the lows, and at the same time it's pushing down the mids, pushing up the lows, pushing down the mids, and adding some smack to the snare. It's just adding some excitement to the track. Right, so these 5 plugins are what I use to tailor the track, I would say. Yeah. The next plugin is a limiter. So this is what you would use to bring the volume of the track up, right? So fair warning, it might get loud once I gauge that. And just to show you, this is a metering plugin. So this is at the end of the chain, so that whatever passes through and out of the limiter, I can look at the levels and make sure they are alright for whatever platform. So let's engage it. Sorry, without it. With it. Right, so you can just hear that everything got louder, right? And this is how you get your track louder, by using a limiter, right? So a limiter is similar to a compressor, but it's going to affect especially when you use it on your master bus, it's going to affect the entire track. So you again have to listen to how your attack and release times play a part, right? You might end up squashing the track or making the low end pump, right? And again, this might be desired effects in certain genres, but not all, right? So do it to taste, right? So once again with the limiter. Alright, and let's switch all the plugins off. So at the end of our mix, this is how the track would sound. And with all the plugins in, alright, so that's it. Again, depending on the platform that you upload your track on, you're going to want to check the specifications for mastering, right? So just remember that. And also, don't worry if you don't have the plugins that I've showed you here today. Especially if you're working on a Windows platform, you're going to be able to find free plugins similar to these or in the likeness of these, right? So don't worry, just do some research and I'm sure you'll find it. Alright, let's jump back out.
And there you have it. We've come to the end of this series. By now, you should be equipped with the basic knowledge and skills required for your music production journey. There's way more that you can learn, so don't just stop here. Also, you can check out the other content on ASUS Creators Academy to help you on your creative journey. Stay safe, take care, and I hope to see you in the next one. For more tutorials and tips, please subscribe to the ASUS Singapore YouTube channel or visit the Creators Academy website. See you on the next video.
Create with ASUS.